You wake up, you check your phone, you scroll through faces, headlines, opinions. You get dressed, go out, smile when you're supposed to, say the right words, play the part. But late at night, when it's just you and the silence, do you ever ask yourself, who am I really? Not your name, not your job, not the image you've built for others, but you, the person behind the mask, the voice behind the voice. Are you just a reflection of what others expect? A product of childhood memories, social media, and survival habits? Or is there something deeper, buried beneath the noise? You've changed so many times. In school, you became who they told you to be. In love, you bent yourself to be loved back. In life, you became whatever made the world clap for you, but strip it all away. Who's left? Maybe that's why you feel anxious, why you feel like a stranger in your own life. Because somewhere along the way, you forgot to look inward, and maybe, just maybe, you've never truly met the real you. This isn't just a video, this is a mirror, and it's asking one question that could change everything. Do you even know who you are? We live in a world obsessed with identity. We define ourselves with bios, job titles, political views, fashion, and filters. But beneath all of that is a question that haunts every thinking soul. Who am I, really? And why does that question feel so terrifying? Because if we look too closely, we might not like what we find, or worse, we might find nothing at all. Philosophers, psychologists, mystics, they've all wrestled with this same mystery. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But most people never do. They live their entire lives as strangers to themselves, chasing roles, wearing masks, avoiding silence. This video is not here to give you quick answers. It's not a list of tips or life hacks. It's a journey inward, a journey that few take, but all must face. We'll explore why we lose our sense of self, how the world quietly shapes us without our permission, and how ancient wisdom, philosophical and psychological, can help us remember who we were before the world told us who to be. You're not here by accident. You clicked this video for a reason. Some part of you is searching, longing, tired of pretending, and maybe, just maybe, this is the moment you begin the most important conversation of your life, the one with yourself. Let's begin. To understand who you really are, you have to first understand what shaped you. From the moment you were born, you were being programmed, not in some sci-fi robotic way, but slowly, silently, through expectations. Your parents gave you a name, society gave you a role, your culture taught you what was normal, and school taught you what success should look like. Over time, you learned what was acceptable to say, what emotions were appropriate, what dreams were realistic. But here's the thing, you didn't choose most of it. It was handed to you, layer by layer, like clothing on a mannequin, and you wore it because everyone else did. You became the good student, the quiet kid, the funny one, the hard worker, the people pleaser. And one day you looked in the mirror and couldn't tell which parts were actually you and which parts were just borrowed. Carl Rogers, a founding voice in humanistic psychology, said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change. But how do you accept yourself if you don't even know what the self is?" This is where philosophy steps in. Socrates said, "Know thyself," not just as a suggestion, but as the starting point of all wisdom. In this video, we're not chasing surface-level answers. We're peeling back layers, because to rediscover your true self, you must first confront the story you've been told about who you are. The constructed self versus the authentic self. Think of yourself as a house, but what if you didn't choose the location, or the architecture, or even the furniture inside? That's how most people live, in a self built by others. Psychologist Carl Jung called this the persona, a mask we wear to survive, to be accepted, to function in society. You present this mask to the world, the confident employee, the good son, the attractive partner, but underneath it all, who's watching from the inside? Jung warned, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But here's the catch. Most people never do. They get stuck playing roles, afraid that removing the mask will leave them empty. But it won't. Because beneath the persona lies the authentic self, the part of you that feels deeply, that questions, that longs, that rebels. And unless you return to that, you'll live your entire life in performance mode, clapping for yourself in a play you didn't audition for. The ego trap. Freud introduced the concept of the ego, the part of you that says, I am this. I want that. I deserve more. It's the voice in your head always narrating your identity. But the ego is fragile. It builds walls to protect itself from rejection, failure, and truth. It feeds on comparisons. It's terrified of silence. And it's addicted to validation. The modern world is ego paradise. Instagram bios, TikTok profiles, self-branding. But philosopher Alan Watts asked, who is the I that is aware of being aware? Think about that. If you can observe your ego, then your ego isn't the real you. The real self is deeper. It watches quietly behind the noise. It doesn't scream. It listens. The myth of consistency. You are not one self. You are many. In different rooms, with different people, you shift. And that's not fake, that's being human. The philosopher David Hume believed there is no fixed self, only a bundle of perceptions, shifting endlessly over time. What does that mean? It means you are not stuck. You are not broken because you feel different one day to the next. The self isn't a statue, it's a flame, alive, moving, fragile. Trying to lock down your identity is like trying to nail fire to a wall. It burns out. The deep need for meaning. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote, when a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. Let that sink in. Much of your identity crisis might not be about who you are, but about why you are. Without a purpose, you drift. Without meaning, you escape. That's why people overwork, overdrink, scroll endlessly, hook up carelessly, because they're searching, but they don't know what for. Frankl's answer, you find yourself in service of something greater than yourself, not by thinking about me, but by transcending yourself. The role of suffering. Lastly, understand this, pain is not the enemy, confusion is not failure. They are signals. Your anxiety may be a whisper from your soul, telling you you're out of alignment. Your sadness may be grief for a life you didn't fully live. Nietzsche said, one must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. Your suffering could be the doorway. The question is, will you go through it? We've talked about identity in theory. Now let's see how it unfolds in real life. Because these ideas aren't just philosophical, they're personal. They show up in quiet moments, in decisions that don't feel right, in relationships that feel hollow, in questions that keep you up at night. Let's walk through the lives of people you might recognize, or maybe people you've become. 1. The overachiever who feels empty. Meet Sarah. She's 29. She has a degree, a stable job, a nice apartment. From the outside, she has it all. But every night she lies in bed wondering, why don't I feel proud of myself? Because she didn't choose this life. She followed a path her parents approved of. Her success feels borrowed, like she's living someone else's dream. Sarah never asked, what do I want? So now she's lost in achievement, without alignment. 2. The man who becomes. Whoever he's with now, take Jordan. He's 34, smart, kind, adaptable. But he becomes a chameleon in relationships. With one group, he's the funny one. With another, the deep thinker. With his partner, the people pleaser. Jordan has learned to morph, but forgotten how to stand still. One day someone asked him, but what do you believe? And he had no answer, because he spent his life becoming what others need, not who he really is. 3. The girl who can't be alone. Then there's Lila. She's 23, always online, always busy, always surrounded by people. But she panics in silence. She hates being alone. Because when there's no noise, she hears a voice she doesn't understand. That voice says things like, "Who are you trying to impress? Is this who you really are? Are you okay if nobody's watching?" So she keeps the noise loud, the phone close, the truth buried. 4. The social media mask. Now imagine Alex. He's 31. Online, he's confident, funny, put together. Thousands of followers, perfect photos, curated stories. But offline, he feels like a stranger to himself, because every post is designed for validation, not truth. He wakes up asking, "What will they like?" Not, "What do I believe?" He's forgotten the difference between attention and authenticity, between being liked and being known. 5. The existential crisis nobody talks about. And maybe this one is you. You're not unhappy, but you're not at peace either. You function, you smile, you get through the day, but sometimes a strange sadness visits. It shows up when the noise fades, when the day ends, when the lights are off, and it whispers, "There's more to you, you know it." But you don't know how to find it, or if it's even real. So you scroll, or you sleep, or you say, "I'm just tired." But deep down, something is stirring. This is the real cost of not knowing who you are. Not chaos, not failure, but quiet disconnection. A life that looks fine, but feels off. So, what have we learned? It's not that you're lost. It's that you've never been taught how to find yourself. Modern life teaches us to chase achievements, relationships, status, but it rarely teaches us to explore the deepest question, who am I? When no one's watching. Let's break it all down into clear, simple takeaways you can carry with you, not just for today, but for life. 1. Your identity is not given, it's built. You weren't born with a fixed self. You were born with potential. Identity isn't something you discover all at once. It's something you slowly uncover, question, and create. Every time you choose honesty over performance, every time you say no to what doesn't align, every time you reflect instead of react, you're becoming more you. 2. You are not your labels. You are not your job title. You are not your Instagram bio. You are not your GPA, salary, or relationship status. Those are descriptions, not definitions. If you lost all of them tomorrow, you would still exist. The real you lives deeper. 3. Silence is not emptiness amidst the doorway in. Most people fear silence because it reveals how noisy their minds really are. But silence isn't the enemy. It's where your inner voice gets louder, where your buried questions surface, where your real self waits. Practice being alone, not to be lonely, but to finally meet yourself. 4. People can love you for who you pretend to be, but that love won't heal you. You can wear the mask. You can get the likes, applause, admiration. But if you don't feel seen, all of it will feel hollow. Better to be disliked for who you are than loved for who you're not. Yes, that's scary, but it's also real, and real is what your soul craves. 5. Knowing yourself is not a luxury, it's a necessity. This isn't about feeling good, this is about feeling whole, because without self-awareness, you can't make real choices. Without it, you'll keep living other people's dreams. You'll chase success that doesn't satisfy. You'll fill voids with noise, scrolling, and distractions. But with self-awareness, you begin to live in alignment. You start building a life that makes sense to your soul. 6. It's okay not to have all the answers. You don't need to figure out your entire identity tonight. This isn't a test, it's a journey. And asking the right questions is a powerful start. Keep asking, what do I value? What drains me? What energizes me? Who am I when I'm not performing? Because even asking these questions means you're waking up. If you're watching this, it means something inside you knows. You were meant for something deeper than what the world offers. And that voice inside you, it's not trying to shame you. It's trying to bring you home. If this message stirred something in you, don't let it fade. You don't need to have all the answers tonight. But you do need to keep asking better questions. So here's what I want you to do. Pause for a moment after this video ends, turn off the noise, and ask yourself, not the world, just one question. What part of me have I been hiding? Then, write it down, say it out loud, feel it. This is how change begins. Not with a dramatic breakthrough, but with a small act of honesty. If this video helped you see yourself more clearly, subscribe for more content like this. We don't just talk about psychology and philosophy here. We explore the truths that actually matter, the ones that shape the way you live, love, think, and heal. Drop a comment below. What's one thing you're ready to let go of that isn't really you? And remember, you don't need permission to be who you are. You never did. You just need the courage to return to yourself, one truth at a time. Thanks for watching, and welcome home.